Okay, I have a very serious question for you today. Alex, and I need you to be completely honest.
Oh no. That is never a good sign. What is it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much anxiety do you feel when you walk into a restaurant and you know you have to speak English to the waiter?
Oh, wow. Straight to the point. I would say an 8. Maybe an 8.5 on a busy Friday night.
An 8.5, that is incredibly high. You are a grown man. You manage a team at work. You can negotiate contracts, but a waiter with a notepad makes you want to run out the door?
It is not the waiter, Sophia. It is the speed and the expectations. When I go to a restaurant in my home country, I know the rhythm. I know the phrases. I can joke with the staff. But in English, the moment they approach the table, my brain goes into emergency mode.
I completely understand that. The restaurant environment is actually a high-pressure linguistic zone. Think about it. There is background noise. The waiter is standing over you. They are talking fast. And you have to make a decision about your food while they are waiting.
Exactly. And they never just ask one question. It is always a barrage of information. Hi, my name is Brad. I'll be your server today. Can I start you off with some drinks? Maybe some sparkling water. Or are we thinking cocktails? And just so you know, the special today is the pan. Seared salmon with a lemon butter reduction.
Laughs. Yes, the classic server monologue. It is like they are trained to say all of that in one single breath.
And by the time they finish, I have only processed the word Brad. I do not know what a reduction is. I do not know if I want sparkling or still. I just panic and say, water. Thank you, Brad.
And then Brad walks away. And you are left staring at the menu, wondering if you just missed out on the best cocktail of your life?
Yes, and then, 20 minutes later, Brad comes back and asks, are you still working on that? Or can I get you started with an appetizer? And I think, working on what? My life? My career? I just nod and say, yes, I'm working on it.
Oh, Alex. No. Working on it makes it sound like you're solving a complex math equation on the menu.
I know, but in that moment, working on it was the only phrase my brain could find that meant I am still reading.
That is actually a very common phrase. Though, are you still working on that? Just means, are you still deciding? But I love that you took it so literally. It is a perfect example of how context changes everything.
It is terrifying, because you want to be polite. You do not want to be the difficult customer who says, speak slower. I do not understand. You feel like you're holding up the entire restaurant.
That is the guilt talking. And it is so unnecessary. Let me tell you a secret about the restaurant industry. Servers actually prefer clear communication over polite nodding.
Really?
Yes. If you nod and say yes to everything, and then you get a cocktail you do not want, and an appetizer you did not order, and a salmon dish that has lemon butter, which you are allergic to, that creates a huge problem for the server. They have to fix it. The kitchen gets annoyed. And everyone is stressed.
That is a very logical way to look at it. But in the moment, the social pressure is so strong.
I know. So, let's talk about how to take back control of that interaction. Because you do not have to be a passive victim of Brad's monologue.
Please, give me the tools. How do I stop Brad?
You use what I call the pause and reset. The moment they start talking too fast, you can gently raise your hand, just a little bit, and say, "I'm sorry. Could you give me just a minute to look at the menu?"
Could you give me just a minute? That is so simple.
It is incredibly effective. It is polite. It is clear. And it immediately stops the flow of information. It tells the server, "I am not ready yet. Please wait."
And what if they ask about the special? Because I never understand the special. Pan, seared, reduction, drizzled, garnished. It sounds like a poetry reading, not a dinner menu.
Laughs. It really does. Reduction just means they boiled a liquid, like wine or juice, until it got thick and flavorful. Pan. Seared means cooked quickly in a hot pan to get a crispy outside. But you do not need to know all that. If they describe the special, and you do not understand, you can just say, "That sounds interesting, but I think I will stick to the chicken for now."
I will stick to the chicken. I like that. It is a very safe phrase.
It is the ultimate safety net. But Alex, I have to ask. You said your anxiety is an 8.5? That implies you have a specific, traumatic restaurant story. Do not hold out on me.
Oh, I was hoping we would not get to this part.
Too late. I am a podcast host. This is my job. Tell me the story.
Okay. Fine. It was about 2 years ago. I was on a business trip in New York. I had a meeting, and I was invited to dinner at a very nice, upscale restaurant.
Upscale? That is the first red flag. The menus have no prices. And the waiters judge your shoes.
Exactly. I was already nervous. I sat down, and the waiter was very professional. Very fast. He asked for my drink. I got water. Then he asked for my order. I looked at the menu, and I saw something called bangers and mash.
Oh no.
Now, in my head, I translated this literally. Bangers sounded like a type of sausage, which I like. Mash sounded like mashed potatoes, which I also like. So I thought, perfect. A safe, simple dish.
It is a safe dish. It is literally just sausages and mashed potatoes. What went wrong?
The waiter asked, "And how would you like the bangers prepared?"
Wait. What?
I know. I did not even know that was a question you could ask about a sausage. I panicked. I thought, prepared? Like, cooked? Do they come raw, and I have to cook them myself? My brain completely short. Circuited. I looked at the waiter, and I said, very seriously, I would like them to be very safe. Please.
Very safe.
Yes. Very safe.
I cannot breathe. What did the waiter's face do?
He paused. He looked at his notepad. He looked back at me. And he said, very slowly, "Sir, they are pork sausages. We cook them. They are safe.
Laughing uncontrollably. Oh my gosh. Alex? That is incredible.
I wanted to dissolve into the floor. I just said, "Okay, that is fine. Thank you." And then I spent the entire dinner wondering if I had just insulted the chef's ability to cook pork safely.
Okay. First of all, that is hilarious. Second of all, the waiter was probably just confused because how would you like them prepared is usually a question for steak, not sausages. He might have been the one who made the mistake.
Wait, really?
Yes, you do not usually ask someone how they want their sausage cooked. It is just cooked. He probably used a script in his head for steak and accidentally applied it to the bangers. You were not the one who made the mistake. Alex. The waiter glitched.
Are you serious? You are just saying that to make me feel better.
I am absolutely serious. Think about it. How would you like your sausage prepared? Well, I'd like it to be safe. It is a completely logical response to an illogical question.
I never thought about it that way. I have carried the shame of the safe bangers for 2 years.
Well, you can put that shame down right now. You handled a confusing situation with polite, clear English. You got your food. You ate it. And you survived. That is a win.
I suppose so. The sausages were actually very good.
See? Victory. But this brings up a really important point for our listeners. When we are in a situation where we do not understand, our instinct is to guess, or to say something generic like yes or safe, just to keep the interaction moving.
Yes, because silence feels like failure.
Exactly. But silence, or a polite request for clarification, is actually a sign of confidence. It shows you are in control of the conversation.
So, instead of guessing, I should just ask.
Yes. And there are very natural B2 level ways to do this without sounding like a beginner. For example, if the waiter describes the special and you miss it, you can say, "I'm sorry. I missed the last part. Could you repeat the special?"
I missed the last part. That is so much better than I do not understand.
Exactly. "I missed it" implies that the information was there. You just didn't catch it. It takes the blame off your English skills and puts it on the environment, which is usually true anyway, because restaurants are loud.
That is a great reframe. I missed it. Not my English is bad.
Precisely. Another great phrase is, "Could you tell me a little more about the reduction?"
Could you tell me a little more about? Yes, that shows interest. And it forces them to slow down and explain.
Exactly. You are turning a moment of confusion into a moment of engagement. Servers love when people are interested in the food.
Okay, I am feeling much better about this. But I know myself. When the pressure is on, I will forget all of these phrases and just go back to water. Thank you.
Which is why we are going to practice.
Oh no. Role play. In a restaurant.
Yes, and I am going to be the worst. I'm going to be Brad. I'm going to be fast. I am going to use fancy words. And I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay, I am ready. I have my phrases. Give me a minute. I missed that. Tell me more.
Perfect. Let's begin. Shifts posture. Puts on a fake, overly cheerful voice. Hi there, my name is Brad. I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you off with something to drink? Perhaps our artisanal sparkling water, with a hint of cucumber. Or are we thinking cocktails? And just so you know, our chef's special is the pan. Seared duck breast with a cherry balsamic reduction and a side of truffle mash.
Takes a deep breath. Hi, Brad. That sounds very good. But could you give me just a minute to look at the menu? Please?
Breaks character. Smiling. Oh, Alex, that was perfect. You interrupted me politely. You used my name? And you bought yourself time.
Really? It felt a little bit assertive.
It was perfectly assertive. You were not rude. You were just clear. Now, let's say I come back 2 minutes later. Are we ready to order? Or do you have any questions about the menu?
Yes. Actually, I missed the last part of the special. Could you tell me a little more about the truffle mash?
Stays in character. Oh, absolutely. It's our regular mashed potatoes. But we fold in a little bit of black truffle oil and some fresh chives. It's fantastic.
That sounds delicious. I will have the duck breast, please. And for my drink, I will just have a glass of still water.
Breaks character again. Alex, I am genuinely impressed. That was flawless. You navigated the fancy menu. You asked for clarification without apologizing for your English. And you ordered exactly what you wanted.
It feels like a script, but I can see how it works. It gives me a structure to fall back on when my brain freezes.
And that structure will become automatic. The more you use it, the less scary Brad becomes.
But what about the end of the meal? That is another stressful moment. Asking for the bill.
Ah, the bill? Or the check, as we say in the US.
Yes. I never know how to ask for it. I do not want to wave my hands in the air, like I am trying to flag down a taxi.
Please do not do that. That is a great way to get ignored. The most natural, polite way to ask for the bill is to simply make eye contact with the server when they walk by and say, "Could we get the check? Please?" Or, "We are ready for the bill whenever you have a moment."
Whenever you have a moment. I like that. It is very patient.
It is. And if you are with a group and you want to pay separately, you can say, "Could we split the bill? Please?"
Split the bill. That is a very useful phrase. Because in my culture, one person usually pays for everyone. And it is very rude to ask to split. So I always forget that this is a normal thing to do here.
Yes. In the US, splitting the bill is incredibly common, especially among friends or colleagues. The server will not judge you for it. In fact, they usually prefer it because it means they get multiple tips.
That is a very capitalist way to look at it. But I appreciate the honesty.
Laughs. It is the truth. Now, let's talk about when things go wrong. because sometimes they do.
Oh, please no.
Yes, let's say you order the chicken, and it arrives, and it is completely cold. Or you're a vegetarian, and there is bacon on your salad. What do?
I eat it.
Alex, no, you cannot eat cold chicken or bacon if you're vegetarian.
I know, but I do not want to complain. I feel like if I complain, I am being a difficult, annoying foreigner.
I need you to delete that thought from your brain right now. You are a paying customer. If the food is wrong, or if it is unsafe for your dietary restrictions, it is the restaurant's responsibility to fix it.
But how do I say it without sounding angry?
You use the observation and request method. You state the fact calmly, and then you ask for a solution. For example, excuse me, I think there might be a mistake. I ordered the vegetarian salad, but this has bacon on it.
I think there might be a mistake. That is very soft.
It is. It gives the server the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the kitchen made an error. Then, you follow up with, could you please have the kitchen make a new one without the bacon?
That is very clear. And what if they say, oh, I can just pick the bacon off for you?
Then you hold your boundary. You say, I appreciate that, but I have a strict dietary restriction, so I would prefer a fresh salad to be safe.
To be safe. Oh, I see what you did there.
Lavs, yes, bringing it back to the safe bangers. But seriously, using the word safe or allergy or strict restriction immediately makes the server take it seriously. They do not want to be responsible for making you sick.
That is very empowering. I think my fear of complaining comes from a fear of conflict. I do not want to make a scene.
And you won't. A calm, polite request is not a scene. A scene is yelling and throwing food. Asking for a fresh salad is just good customer service.
I'm going to try to remember that. Calm, polite request.
Exactly. Now, since we have covered so much ground today, I want to do a quick rapid fire scenario game. Restaurant edition. I will give you a situation, and you give me your immediate, natural response. No overthinking.
Okay, I am ready. My brain is warmed up.
Scenario 1. The waiter brings you the wrong drink. You ordered iced tea. They brought you a Coke.
Excuse me. I think there might be a mistake. I ordered the iced tea, but this is a Coke. Could I please get the tea?
Perfect. Observation and request. Scenario 2. You are finished eating. The table is a mess. And you want the bill, but the waiter is on the other side of the room talking to another table.
I would wait until they look in my direction. Make eye contact, and maybe give a very small nod. And say, could we get the check? Please. Whenever you have a moment.
Excellent. No waving. No shouting. Just calm and polite. Scenario 3. The waiter asks, how is everything tasting? And you are literally in the middle of chewing and cannot speak.
Laughs, I would hold up one finger. Chew quickly. Swallow. And say, it is delicious. Thank you.
Yes, The universal one-moment finger is a perfectly acceptable form of communication in a restaurant.
What about scenario 4? The waiter asks, "Do you need a box for that?" And you have no idea what a box has to do with anything.
Ah, the doggy bag in the US. If you do not finish your food, the server will ask, "Do you need a box? Or can I box that up for you?" It means they will put your leftover food in a cardboard container so you can take it home.
Oh, so I should say, yes. Please, a box would be great.
Exactly. Or, yes, I would love to take this home. Both are very natural.
This is so helpful. Sophia, I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for surviving restaurants.
You do. And the best part is, once you realize that you can handle these interactions, the anxiety starts to fade. You stop seeing the waiter as a threat, and you start seeing them as just another person doing their job.
That is a really nice way to look at it. I think my biggest takeaway today is that I do not have to understand every single fancy word on the menu. I just need to know how to ask for clarification and how to politely take control of the pace of the conversation.
That is a brilliant takeaway. Clarification and pace. You are the director of your own dining experience. Alex,
I like that. The director of my dining experience. I will make sure my bangers are safe, and my duck breast is perfectly seared.
laughs. Exactly. And if anyone asks, you are just a very safety conscious diner.
Thank you, Sophia. This was actually really fun, and I feel much more confident about my next restaurant visit.
I am so glad to hear that. And to all our listeners out there, if you get nervous ordering food in English, remember, it is okay to ask for a minute. It is okay to ask for a repeat. And it is definitely okay to send back cold chicken. You are doing great.
And remember, if the waiter talks too fast, just blame the background noise, not your English.
Perfect advice. We will see you all next time. Bye. Alex,
Bye, Sophia.